Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm one of the team who looks after the running of Enroll-HD across the UK and Ireland. I'd just like to say a big thank you to CAF and to the HDA for the amazing opportunity of being here today to talk to you all. I'm also going to give a little apology in advance because I'm coming down with a bit of a cold. So if I sound a bit disgusting at points, I'm really sorry about that. So what I'm going to be presenting to you today is about the Enroll-HD study. And I'd also like to celebrate with you the 10-year anniversary of Enroll-HD. I'm going to be sharing some of the achievements from the study, which wouldn't have been possible without the contribution and collaboration of researchers, lay associations, and most importantly, HD families. So this slide's just a bit of an agenda of what I'd like to try and cover in this talk. So firstly, I want to start by giving an overview of what Enroll-HD is and give you a bit of information about the study itself. I'm actually going to keep this relatively brief, as I know a lot of you probably heard about Enroll in the past, because then I want to move on to share some of the highlights of the achievements and outcomes from the study, before finishing by sharing a few testimonials from some of our Enroll-HD participants. So some of the feedback we've had from our sites is that sometimes participants can feel as though they've been coming back year on year to take part in Enroll and are completing the same assessments, but they're not actually sure what is being done with all of that data and the samples that are collected. So in this talk, I really hope I can address that and to really highlight how important Enroll-HD is and how valuable the data and the samples that are collected are. And this little slide is just to give you a bit of a brief history of Enroll-HD. So as Hugh did mention, we did have a predecessor to Enroll called Registry, which I think he's right, it was about 2006, a bit before my time. But Enroll-HD itself started up in 2012. Our first participant was recruited in July 2012 in Tennessee in the USA. And then by April 2016, we'd reached the milestone of having recruited 10,000 participants to the study. And then in 2019, we had sites active in 20 different countries spanning over 4 continents. So that was in Latin America, Australasia, Europe, and North America. And then, as I've already mentioned, this year we hit our 10-year anniversary. So this slide is just to show you the major aims that Enroll was established with. So we have 3 major aims. Firstly, to enhance the design and expedite the conduct of clinical trials. Secondly, to improve our understanding of the phenotypic spectrum. So that's the clinical signs and symptoms and the disease mechanisms of HD in humans. And then thirdly, to foster good clinical care and improve health outcomes. So Enroll-HD is actually a clinical research platform. And this little diagram here tries to illustrate this. This is what we refer to lovingly as the Enroll-HD burger. So the main part of the platform, which most of you will be fairly familiar with already, is the prospective observational longitudinal registry study here in the middle, and that's Enroll-HD. So that's the meat of our burger, so to speak. But what is probably a bit less well known are the platform elements or the buns on either side. And these are a big part of how Enroll-HD goes about meeting the aims for the study. So here at the bottom, we have the platform infrastructure support. So we can provide help to other studies who are looking to get started up. They can use the Enroll platform to help facilitate that and help them to run more efficiently in lots of different ways, as illustrated here. So an example would be we can provide informed consent form templates for them to take and adapt. And we can also provide access to our electronic data capture system and our database. And a great example of a study which has already utilised this support is HD Clarity. And then at the top here, our top bun is the resources which we have available for other researchers and the HD community, such as access to our biosamples and our really large data sets, and support for clinical trials. So we can support clinical trial recruitment by providing estimates of how many potentially eligible participants there may be at different sites across the UK, for example. And I'm not actually going to go much further into explaining Enroll as a platform or discussing our platform studies, as I know Jenny kind of touched on those earlier. But I just want to give you this slide to give you a bit of an understanding of the bigger picture of Enroll-HD and everything that's kind of going on behind the scenes, so to speak. Okay, so now thinking about the Enroll-HD longitudinal study itself. This study is open to every member of an HD family. So I've listed out all the different participant categories here. We have our gene positive, and that could be if you have manifest HD or pre-manifest. You could take part if your genotype status is unknown. So if you've not yet had the test, you can still take part. We also take people who have tested negative, as well as companions or caregivers for people with HD. And then you'll see at the bottom here, we've also got this extra category, which is community controls. That's essentially kind of like someone who's just walked in off the street, so someone who's unconnected to HD in any way. We don't actively recruit them for Enroll itself, but that category is available as an option for our platform studies if they do wish to recruit that type of participant. And then I've just given you a little link at the bottom, which takes you to our website where there's lots more information which you can find about taking part if that is something that you're interested in. So this next slide is just trying to give you an idea of all the different types of assessments and questionnaires which can be completed during an Enroll-HD visit. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. There's a lot of different things that we do. So it's just to give you a kind of feel for the breadth of things that we cover. Enroll visits can take anywhere from as long as 2 hours for your first visit, or what we call your baseline visit, to as quick as like 45 minutes for your annual follow-up visits. And generally we try to see people once a year around the same time each year, but there is some flexibility with this, and we can adapt your visit schedule to fit in with your clinic appointments, or if you're taking part in other research, we can sometimes combine visits so that you're not having to come in for lots of separate visits. So you'll see some of the assessments that we do are what we call our core assessments, and these are elements which are required to be completed at each visit. It's kind of the minimum that we ask you to do. And then there are optional or extended components which you can choose to take part in or not. And at your first visit, you will be asked to donate a blood sample, which is essential to take part. This is used for research genotyping, but the results are not disclosed to you or anyone at your site or anyone who would ever be able to link your study number to you personally. We take data protection really, really seriously and have lots of measures in place to ensure that this sensitive information is well protected. And then at your follow-up visits, you can choose to donate additional blood samples if you want to, and they're used for research. They get sent off to our biobanks. But if you don't feel like it, or if you just don't want to do it on the day, there's no pressure at all. You can just opt out. And again, the link at the bottom of the slide just takes you to where you can find lots more information about what you could expect at an Enroll-HD visit. So the UK is actually the country with the highest number of Enroll-HD sites, which of any country, which I think is incredible considering we're such a small country, really. And across the UK and Ireland, we have 24 active sites. We've enrolled over 3,575 participants since the study started up here in 2014. And I've just listed out the sites for you here by region. And I've included a link at the bottom to the map function on our website, where you can find out lots of information about Enroll sites and also HD specialist sites and lab-based researchers. There's loads of information on there. And if you're looking to take part and want to find out where your nearest site is and to start getting in touch with them, this is your best place to start. You can find the contact information for the study coordinators and PIs on this map. So this little graph is just showing you kind of where we are today. So the figures here are our global figures, and these were valid as of July this year. So we've really grown as a study, and now we have over 27,000 people who've participated to date. And this is represented by the orange line at the top of the graph. Of those participants, 21,000 are still current participants, so that means that there's no end form completed for them. And these are shown by the green line in the middle on the graph. However, you can see that only slightly less than 15,000 participants are what we call active. So that means that they've attended an Enroll-HD visit over the last 2 years. And those are represented by the orangey yellow line at the bottom. So COVID definitely had an impact, and it no doubt explains a large part of that gap that we see between our current and our active participant numbers. You can see there's a real big dip off, but we are now starting to see a positive trend. There's a little uptick at the end there. which is showing that people are starting to return to sites again now, which is really encouraging to see that our sites are starting to recover from the impact of the pandemic. Nonetheless, we are really encouraging our sites to reach out and invite existing participants to come back for their Enroll visits. And similarly, if you're taking part and you haven't been seen for a while, then please do get in touch with the coordinator at your site to see if see what the current status is there. In the UK, the majority of our sites have restarted Enroll, but a lot are still working at a reduced capacity and with reduced staffing numbers. So there is still a bit of a backlog of visits, which our sites are working really hard to catch up on. So hopefully we'll be getting back towards normal really soon. So I just wanted to show this again to kind of reiterate our three main aims of Enroll, and those are supporting clinical trials, enhancing our understanding of HD, and improving clinical care. I'm now going to show you some ways which Enroll-HD has addressed and achieved these aims over the last 10 years. So this slide is some of the metrics that we've pulled together from our study data. And again, this was valid as of July 2022. So there have been 88,642 study visits conducted so far. More now as well, I imagine, and over 61 million individual data points have been collected. There are over 155 clinical sites participating in 23 nations, and Enroll-HD has supported a massive 42 additional studies and trials so far. And there have been over 106 scientific articles published from the Enroll-HD data. And I'm going to talk about this a bit more in terms of how it addresses the aims of the study. So firstly, the support of clinical trials. Around half of participants in current or recently completed HD clinical trials also participate in Enroll-HD. And most of these trials have also made extensive use of the platform infrastructure, including clinical study sites and staff. And Enroll-HD sites have made up almost 90% of the sites involved in recent HD clinical trials. We're really proud of Enroll-HD's support of clinical trials. And as you can see from this slide, and as Jenny mentioned earlier, if you are someone who is interested in taking part in clinical trials, then a really great starting point for that is Enroll-HD. I just wanted to show this. I won't go into too much detail with it because I know Jenny covered trials in loads of great detail, but I just think this is nice to highlight all the other support that Enroll-HD provides with research in general and clinical trials. So as you can see from this slide, there's a really broad range of types of research and companies that we work closely with, from exercise intervention studies, imaging studies, right the way through to the interventional clinical trials. So our second aim is to enhance the understanding of HD. The wealth of data and biosamples collected have led to lots of exciting and significant scientific breakthroughs. These include the development of new classification systems for disease staging in research, advances in biomarker research, development of assays to measure the Huntington protein, and the identification of several genetic modifiers of disease onset, critically pointing to new targets for which therapeutics are now being developed. And as I mentioned today, 106 scientific articles leveraging Enroll-HD data and biosamples have been published. And each of these are listed in a link on our website. And you can look at these here on the link on this slide. These publications and the often exciting and significant scientific breakthroughs and discoveries that they highlight underscore the tremendous importance of Enroll-HD in understanding and enhancing our understanding of the disease and in therapeutic development. And our third aim was to improve clinical care. So in part, this is achieved by helping to create an environment at Enroll-HD visits that fosters clinical care. Regular contact for the study helps strengthen the relationship between clinicians, patients, and their families, as well as improving consistency in clinical assessments. Enroll-HD also assists by providing training for clinicians and site staff, standardizing assessment tools, and creating and fostering a culture of excellence. And one project we'd just like to highlight is a program that was instigated by Vanderbilt in the USA, where the team there are developing a standardized psychosocial program that can be offered to HD families to help enhance their communication and coping with the stress of HD. The project's really near completion, and it's recently received a 3.5 million NIH grant to roll it out and to validate it. So I think that's really great. So yeah, I'd just like to finish my talk by sharing some testimonials from Enroll-HD participants who've very kindly given feedback on their experiences of taking part in the study and the benefits which they've found from it. And they've very generously allowed us to share this. I think these are such powerful statements, and we're just so very grateful to all of our participants. So the first one I have is from Jenna Shea. She says, Enroll-HD has allowed me as one individual to feel like I'm making a difference in the HD community. It has been an opportunity for me to participate in a longitudinal observational study with ease, allowing researchers to continue to learn and develop effective ways for treating HD. As part of Enroll-HD, I've come to understand and appreciate that the data collected has improved our understanding of the disease, how clinical trials are designed and conducted, and how patients are cared for on a daily basis. And that my seemingly insignificant involvement played a role in discovering that information. My involvement in Enroll-HD swelled into other observational studies and led to my eventual involvement in patient advocacy through HD Cope and other organizations. It emphasized the importance of being actively involved in healthcare processes and has taught me that my day-to-day lived experiences and how the disease has played out in the lives of my loved ones is valuable and can make a difference. With that learning has come an immense amount of hope and trust that in the process that one day an effective therapy will be available and accessible worldwide. And then this next message is from Tim Owen, and he says, what Enroll-HD means to me, I'm very honored and humbled to take part in the phenomenal Enroll-HD study. I'm not sure, but this may be my 15th year of contributing to it and its predecessors. So I can't say thank you enough to everyone at CHDI, the incredible network of HD researchers, clinicians, and everyone who has a hand in fighting so hard for Enroll-HD and for continuing to build its network and grow the number of participants, and for all the incredible learning from this important data set. Can't wait to see what's next to be learned from Enroll-HD. Enroll-HD has vastly improved my outlook on HD and also improved my outlook on the prospect of effective therapeutics. And then finally, just this message from Robert Laycock. Being part of Enroll-HD and Predict before it has been an essential part of my life for years. I would feel bereft without that connection. It's such an easy way to feel that you are contributing in some way, not just adding data, but ultimately being part of finding a cure. It makes me feel hopeful. And as a possible jumping off point for taking part in clinical trials, it points towards those effective therapeutics that are already in the works and yet to come. It's the pool of possible participants for future clinical trials. Everyone who can should be part of Enroll-HD. Okay. So I just want to finish by saying a big thank you to all of our Enroll-HD participants and their families, and to everyone taking part in research. We really couldn't do any of this without your help. And also obviously thanks to everyone else on this slide. And thank you all for listening to me.